So I've got two rifles that I consider my special purpose carbines. Like they can do anything. I shoot to distance and I shoot up close with them. So when I do that, I switch out optics. I don't use an offset 45 mount or anything like that. Though you can. I'm not advocating against it. I just don't. So in this case with the SCAR, I have a Aimpoint T1 and I've got a Leopold 3-9 that I like to use. So what I do is, well, first off, you got to understand that this Picatinny rail here, they mark them with numbers for a reason, so you know where to set your stuff up. But most people aren't going to remember that their back rail is, you know, at the 14 or 15 or where is it? You're going to mess it up. It's going to happen. So, you know, you grunt proof it by putting some markers on here. So I use paint pens. And my T1 I mark with 2 blue lines, 2 lines because they can fade, solvent can break down the paint, and I want some redundancy. So I put 2 lines on there, line up my 2 lines, and I can lock it down and it's good to go. And then with the powered optic, they're marked with orange. I can line them up and lock them down. Now, something you got to understand too, a lot of mounts, because the Picatinny rail is mil spec, and mil spec is huge. So you'll get some wobble. The GDI mount doesn't wobble because you set it up to the Picatinny. But with the a lot of other mounts, and I'm not going to knock these guys, they make a good mount. One, I get it lined up, and you'll see there's definitely movement in there. So with this mount, I want to make sure I push it forward and over here towards the camera. So it's up and over up against the solid portion of the mount, and I can lock it down. I'm pushing it forward because I want the rail and the mount to recoil against each other, and I don't want a gap. So if there's a gap, and when the gun recoils, sooner or later it's going to exploit that, and it's going to come loose, or it's going to bump your zero by a little bit. So just some food for thought on how to set this up, make things a little bit easier. And then once you get it set up, make sure you take it off every so often, put it back on, verify your zero, take it off, put it back on, check zero again, and see how much. I know this gun, this powered optic here, because of the mount and how it's set up, it has a bit of a variation, anywhere from like 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch. To me, it's acceptable for what I do with this gun. One day I'll probably get a GDI mount for that optic, but with this T1, man, it's returned to zero every time, and I know this because I continue to test it. So just a little tip. Check out your Picatinny rail, mark your spots for your optics. Even if you only have one optic, mark it out. That way, if you got to take it off for maintenance, your mount comes loose from the actual optic, or if you got to take it off to send it out for a service or whatever the case may be, you know that you can put it right back on and you're going to be good to go.